maybe we should think about giving kids a break from our culture wars for a minute, or at least until the election is over.
And there he finally says something I believe he believes.
Until the election is over. He's okay with it.
I believe that is the only true thing he's ever said.
Wow, that is actually, you're right. That is the final mask off moment. That is disgusting. That, you know what he says? That means he believes the gay agenda stuff that's being exposed is harming the Democratic Party from getting elected. And so we need to stop it, at least until the election is over and they're in power, and then go on board with the gay agenda. That undermines everything he just said. Welcome back to The Watch. And, you know, Bill Maher, not a fan. Like, most of his takes are complete dog crap.
Yeah.
But once in a blue moon, he actually sees reality. Like, it doesn't happen often. And to his credit, he's one of the only pretty far left voices out there that is seeing some of the insanity in the woke ideology and woke movement.
Yeah. You say that, but I just see his face, and I immediately want to not see his face.
Yeah, I get that impression. Like, he has said some of the most dumb things, but recently he did have a bit of a monologue that we need to watch and react to, because finally some of these people are waking up to it. We have been speaking about this for a while already, and in actual fact, it's crazy the amount of backlash the left tries to push to either pretend, gaslight that it's not happening, or to try and attack and accuse people of being homophobic, anti-trans and stuff like that, for when we're saying, let's protect some kids, right? Let's actually protect the kids, right? And there was this streamer that did it was a single comment, and it was in relation to a protest where there was some people protesting where they were stomping on an LGBT flag, right? And he says, they just want kids to be left alone, or something to that effect, right? And he got raked across the coals by the left for just wanting to protect kids, right? Because they actually know there is a large group in the LGBT, advocacy people, right, that are specifically targeting kids. You don't believe me? Here's a video clip. They have said explicitly that they want to target kids. There is a clip that Bill Maher finally, they've latched onto this, whereas the Disney employee saying that she is putting stuff that is the LGBT agenda in kids' media. She specifically says she has a not-so-secret gay agenda that she is putting into kids' media, right? They've been explicit about this. Okay, to the point where people say that this isn't happening, that there isn't this contingent in the woke activists that are after kids, is complete dishonesty. Either people are in a bubble and they're not aware of that this actually is happening, where they've been black and white explicit that that is part of the agenda, all right? That they haven't seen that. But now some of these are finally waking people up to it.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I have a problem with it coming from Bill Maher, because I hate this man. Look, I appreciate, what did Roseanne Barr say? I appreciate that he's offering us the solution to all our problems for free. Again, that's very nice of him. But I just loathe this man for everything he represents and everything he is.
Let's hear what he says. And look, in this instance, he is absolutely on the money and is giving voice to a really big problem.
Finally, new rule. As one of the few people in the public eye who's gone through life and never had kids, someone has to tell me, why am I always having to defend them?
I mean, because even that is just a scummy kind of statement, right? Like, he doesn't like kids. And genuinely, there are, I can understand there are people who don't want kids, but he, actively voice, I hate kids, and stuff like that. The way that he says it, it does not come off like in a positive light. The type of person you'd have to be to have that type of dislike for kids. But
yeah, and I'm sure he would also say that I'm defending kids by arguing that gun control should be a thing.
Probably.
Which is the worst thing for defending kids, because who's going to stop a gunman but a gunman?
By the way, Bill Maher, he has some of the most intense Trump derangement syndrome in the world. Like, bonkers stuff.
I don't even like kids, but I also think it's every adult's job to protect them.
And, okay, yes, I absolutely agree with him there.
Well, not every. I'd say it's the parents, because when...
Parents primarily, but it is the responsibility of adults to protect kids. And when he says every adult, of course, not the predatory adults.
Yeah, but like, it's just like with the governments and stuff like that, institutions and, you know...
It should start absolutely first with the parents.
Yeah.
Have you all been watching the Max documentary called Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV?
I don't need to watch it. We've been aware of this stuff for ages, voicing the issues with it. Like the predators in Hollywood are shocking, right? You think it stopped with Harvey Weinstein? No.
Just why say kids TV? Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Do you know James, what's his name? James Woods? James Woods, the actor?
He sounds familiar.
Conservative actor. You've seen him in a ton of stuff, but not recently. He's been in a lot of movies. He was very famous in the 80s and 90s. And someone asked him on Twitter around like the Trump era, you know, you've seen all the conspiracies because you've seen them all on Twitter. How accurate is it all? And do you know what he said? Multiply your worst fears 100-fold.
Like, yeah, I mean, Natalie Portman said that it's like a miracle that she survived going through Hollywood at her age. She's the actress in the Resident Evil franchise, Mila Jovovich. She actually says that she basically like had, you know, relations underage with a man, right? Like
look at Woody. Is it Woody Allen? You know Woody Allen?
Yeah, I know him.
He adopted. Just Google Woody Allen adoptee. You'll see a photo and you'll know exactly what happened.
Right, like the predation in Hollywood is bad enough, but the fact is that there is active child, you know, violators, right? And it's almost like a spoken secret. Like everyone is aware of it, but no one's doing anything about it because they're protecting themselves, right? It's disgusting.
If Terry Crews can be molested by a man at a party in public,
and his
twice,
Terry Crews has spoken openly about this,
yes,
right?
Which is why his career's dead as well. Isn't that weird?
Isn't it? Yeah.
At least it's only his career that's dead, not him, because there's been plenty of accusers. Many accusers who've made accusations and then commit suicide or died of falling. And you know who they all support?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Oz.
You know who they all get along with?
Conspiracy theorists, right, often have gotten a bad rap. Then Epstein committed suicide.
Yeah.
Like you would have to be willfully blind to think that he committed suicide. That is honestly a waking up moment, even for me and for a lot of people. Like there is actual politically motivated assassinations happening in the world, like actually happening to protect powerful people. Oh my gosh.
I think there's only two other classes of people that you know, wouldn't believe that he killed himself. Democrats, or well, no, just progressives in general, and the people that actually killed Jeffrey Epstein. Those two as well. I wonder if there's any correlation between those two people.
So there's a documentary come out, right? And he says, yeah, I've seen it, but we've been voicing this crap already. We don't need to see. And so many people have been known about this, but again, they want to brush it under the rug because it's protecting people in power. But look, at least good on Bill Maher, you know.
OMG. Nickelodeon, it wasn't a studio, it was Neverland Ranch with craft services.
I do have to, like, his audience was always the clapping seals. He'll say anything and they'll, like, almost do that.
Yeah.
Almost.
It'd be great to hear him say something funny and get them to applaud a lot.
It is just scene after scene, clip after clip of the child stars of their day being subjected to obviously inappropriate, highly sexualized degradation and quite a few pickles going through glory holes.
And it's all there, right? And you think that there weren't like strong hints.
Here's the thing. Here's why I can't trust this, though. He's 20 years too late to the party.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you think this wasn't happening at Disney, in Disney studios and stuff like that? You think it's not happening now?
It's literally happening now.
Yes.
They're having children dance at pride parades.
Freaking almost explicitly so. Look at the film Cuties.
Yeah.
Like, gosh.
So this...
And the defensive cuties as well.
This is why I can't trust this. I can't trust a single person who has a television show, who works with the government, works in any established institution. I can't trust it. I refuse to believe a single word they have to say to me. Or at least refuse to believe the spirit in which they deliver it to me. It's always about something else.
I was grossed out and I've gone camping with John Waters.
He's not that funny, is he?
No.
I kid you, John, I love you. So I don't know if this documentary is the talk of your town, but it is out here because it didn't just expose a dangerous workplace. It also exposed hypocrisy. Because it must be pointed out that when the evil governor of Florida was saying the exact same thing about kids and creepy stuff at Disney that liberals now find intolerable at Nickelodeon, he was dismissed as a hick and a bigot. But
I mean, look, that is a very poignant thing to point out. Absolutely. Like, the left have attacked people for calling this out massive. They've attacked us when we call it out, all this, agenda being injected in children's media. And the springboard was when we were commenting on...
Transitions?
Well, no, it was the Buzz Lightyear film. Okay?
Yeah, the fuzz bite rear, yeah.
All right. And so people have tried to attack us constantly because they know what's happening. And they're on board with it, right?
Yep.
They are actually on board with it, and they don't want the truth getting out.
And you know what he'll do in 2 weeks' time? The same thing. I mean, that's what his side does. All they do is lie. I can't.
why would a kids' content factory like Disney be all that different than the one at Nickelodeon?
It's not.
A 2014 CNN report discovered that at least 35 Disney employees had been arrested for sex crimes.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to bump those numbers
No,
up.
no, but like even that, of course, there's probably way more that have not been arrested or caught out, right? But should that not be a massive red flag, right?
Oh, but you can't say things like that because otherwise something.
Against children, and in 2021, Disney child star Allison Stoner confessed she only narrowly survived the toddler to train wreck pipeline. The next year, child star Cole Sprouse told the New York Times that young actresses at the Disney Channel were heavily sexualized from an early age.
Disney is an evil company, right? I mean, truly, actually evil.
You know, Willie Sutton said he robbed banks because that's where the money is. And the reason we find pedophiles in the Boy Scouts and the Rectory and kids' TV is that's where the kids are. DeSantis wasn't wrong, but we're so...
It's interesting, like, when he says DeSantis wasn't wrong, you could almost feel... I was calling his audience seals, and there was no joke to tell them to clap, but you could almost feel the awkwardness in the room then when someone has left and has such a left-leaning show says DeSantis wasn't wrong. Like,
tribal now. The left will overlook child if the guy from the wrong party calls it out.
like that's pretty damn base for him to say. As much as I dislike him, like, damn, good on him for calling that out.
Well, I do think he's a bit incorrect though. They'll just overlook it in general. They'll
Defend it.
They'll defend it, and argue against the person calling it out.
Yeah,
just because he is saying something.
Exactly.
Against the opposite side.
And they'll attack them for it and try and frame in the worst light possible, right? But, like, the extreme woke ideologues and activists, right, are actively trying to defend this type of stuff, right?
And that's his side. That's why I can't. He will. Yeah.
Sure, Nickelodeon messed up Amanda Bynes, but the Mickey Mouse Club was where Britney Spears got her start, and she's perfectly fine.
And see, this is, again, he's making jokes. He's making these very, I'd say, cruel judgments to victims of sexual abuse since childhood. That's the kind of man he is.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to try and police jokes or humor or anything. And the point he's making, though, is valid.
Yeah.
That's, you know, look at some of these child stars of how they turned out, even the ones at Disney.
And get this, after Brian Peck, who was one of the lead creeps at Nickelodeon, served 16 months in prison for the molesting he did there, Disney hired him. Naturally.
Well, yeah, where do you think they get their workers from?
Like really, you know?
To work on a children's series. Oh, for pedophiles in Hollywood, it's a small world after all. And,
Went to get a job there. He was like, look, I do have to tell you legally, I am a registered sex offender. And the guy said, say no more, you got the job.
That's what I wouldn't put it past him. Like the fact that Disney would hire a like convicted, you know, sex offender, right, for a children's project. It's just...
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question, Shad.
Yeah.
Do you think that was an oversight or a mistake? Do you think people are so stupid that they'll just...
You know what? I bet it was his connections. He had friends that got him, you know, got him in that were willing to overlook it because they were probably doing the same thing as well, by the way. And so, and also because they would know if they hired something like him, he's not going to report other people.
Mm.
So it makes sense for them to hire people like him, doesn't it?
and not just Hollywood. There are
Why, but like, why does something like this have to happen?
Corruption. It's evil.
Instagram moms these days who are practically only fansing their itty-bitty beauty queen daughters by having them wear skimpy bikinis and eat bananas to build.
Yeah, I wearing pretty dresses, I think, is, hey, little girls love to dress up in pretty dresses, but no, he's not showing the really troubling stuff, the bikini stuff. It's just
stuff...
like, oh, it's gross.
Okay, so that does exist.
Social media stardom. They're called sharenters, a hybrid of sharing and parent. I call them pimps, a hybrid of pimp and
I am funnier waking up in the morning with a headache than this man is with a studio audience and 20 writers.
I've had dumps that were more funny than that joke. Unironically.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes where it is hitting you so hard, you just have to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know,
enough topic. I had
Your
gastro recently, and I was up all night.
yeah, your dumps are very funny. They crack a lot of sides, specifically the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
But this man, his jokes are just
And people who believe in social justice have agreed this is wrong and this is bad, and exposing kids to an adult world of lurid costumes and garish makeup borders on abuse. Now, hurry up and get in the car. We're late for Drag Queen Story Hour.
Okay, yeah, good on him. Pointing out the complete double standard hypocrisy. Because, yeah, they're completely on board with pushing this stuff in front of kids.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a drag queen, but maybe.
I don't know, man. I've heard it's a total drag.
Maybe it's time to admit that sometimes Drag Queen Story Hour is more for the queen than the kids.
Especially since a bunch of them were arrested for being...
Yeah, but also, what are they trying to normalize for kids by this, you know, practice, right? And by the way, not normalize, if they present it as something to be celebrated, to be seen as admirable, to be adopted and then be praised for, kids are very impressionable and they like to do things that, one, get attention, but also are praiseworthy. What are they trying to encourage in kids?
What are they trying to ingrain? What are they trying to encourage?
And they're explicit about this. They have cheered. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. They explicitly have said that's their goal.
And in Western countries, they make it illegal to try and stop children from transitioning after they are constantly, ceaselessly, targeted with this sort of stuff at their school, in their social media, in their movies and TV, in bloody Disney. This is again,
Sure, kids love a clown, but does the clown have to have tits?
Did he get you then? Is that a slight huff of a chuckle?
With how vulgar, I appreciated the vulgarity of it and their delivery. But I do personally prefer my clowns with tits, yes. Oh, and to be a woman.
And when I see a 5-year-old,
This part is actually too disgusting, so I'm skipping it because that just enrages me. Basically, a kid at a strip show.
Look, like I said, I made a joke in another video before this. Like, I never really had a chance at any sort of like innocence, and in a way, that's a tragedy. But it also is like, I can see exactly where this stuff comes from and how it perpetuates, and there's just some things that even I don't really joke about unless it's like separated from the people and the events, you know what I mean? And so that's why I can't trust this smug asshole and his stupid...
Well, this is the thing, right? The stuff he has supported, the push for feminism and progressivism and everything like that, Bill, you are one of the people responsible for where we are in society. You have supported it all. And now when it's finally going off a cliff and you are on board pushing the train in that way, you're now saying, well, maybe we've gone too far.
He literally said in the 90s about a woman who was arrested and fired. She was a teacher who molested a 13-year-old.
The teacher from Seattle who is in jail because she is in love. I admit that it's unorthodox. She is 35. The boy is 14. He was younger when they started. But she is pregnant again. That was the story this week. With the second child by this boy. So basically they're having a family and they're keeping the mother in jail because she won't conform to what society feels should be the perfect American family.
He said that.
He said that.
He said that a woman who raped, because it doesn't matter if the child is on board, it's a child, right? Underage boy, right? That's called statutory rape, I believe, isn't it, Oz?
I just call it rape.
Yeah, right? Bill was just like, no crime committed there. And then he says he wished they had. So this is the guy who has said disgusting stuff and supported the direction that has pushed society and his side to where it is right now.
And it's the same thing that Disney does, because Disney might sell you some bloody movie about a space ranger going and saving the galaxy, or what's another one? I don't know, whatever Marvel's doing these days. And in it, they'll put as many tokens and symbols and
hints about, and sometimes not hints, just blatant things about,
And they're doing nothing but ramp it up. And he has said and done the same thing, and I'm willing to put money on that he will do the exact same thing over and over again. I don't know why he's doing this in this case, but I don't trust it at all because everything else he's ever done beforehand has been a lie.
So I don't go as far as that. I actually think he is honest in his objection to that, but is not being honest by the fact that he has contributed it massively to it by his own activism, right? And now he's basically, set fire to his own house and suddenly saying, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Right?
if you want kids to be more tolerant, why not have handicapped people read them stories? Kids are more likely to encounter disabled people than drag queens in life.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea, though.
Yeah, but I also feel it's kind of ableist to, say that. Never mind, I can't actually say that joke.
All right, moving on.
Life. Geez, can't we just go back to the good old days when kids were read simple stories with simple morals like, if you're a lonely single man, just make a boy out of wood.
Again, here we go. Like, here's another thing, right? It's like, Like taking something, and this is another thing that I do hate, the fact that it's like something taken away from me by society or by the world, whatever my experience is, that nothing can be
Innocent
anymore. Pinocchio.
Yeah, I mean, and Pinocchio is actually a pure innocent tale with some good moral lessons. Like, you know, there is interesting symbology about when he goes to the island and the kids start acting like jackasses and they turn into jackasses and stuff like that. There's actually moral implications, cautionary tales in these old stories that are very actually important.
As well as the direct biblical message of saving Geppetto from the whale's belly.
Yep.
I've said it before, wokeness is not an extension of liberalism anymore. It's more often taking something so far that it becomes the opposite.
Yeah, because he's trying to say, see, my liberalism that I supported wasn't actually supporting the woke stuff, right? Wokeness isn't an extension of this. It is. It is actually. Like the whole, everyone should, be celebrated for whatever belief they have, right? That whole, and Sargon actually has been calling out liberalism a lot lately. Have you been listening to his philosophy that liberalism is one of the core things that's leading to it? He's got some, good discussions about all this, that, being too accepting of everyone's behaviors is what's actually led us towards this, terrible state we're in at the moment. You want freedom, okay, absolutely, but that doesn't mean that we should celebrate or, be forced to validate other people's lifestyles that we actually disagree with or think is immoral, and liberalism seems to be like a true, everyone live and let live, right? Means not criticizing lifestyles that actually we disagree with, that are immoral. Because you shouldn't but it's gone beyond that. It's that saying now you must celebrate it, right?
Teaching kids not to hate or judge those who are different, great. Proud we got there, all for that.
Not to hate, but judging. There are lifestyles and actions that are absolutely worth being judged.
If hate is such an unnatural and bad thing, why do we exist with it in the first place?
Well, we've already kind of, not in this video, but another video, that hate is a neutral emotion.
Exactly.
It's good to hate evil. It's good to hate pedophilia.
It's good to hate the person that's trying to kill you. It's good to hate the person that's trying to kidnap you.
I mean, there is the more Christian philosophy of love your enemy. And so it's the whole hate the sin but love the sinner. And that is a very important thing that we need to try and remember.
Yes, but if a child is to hate the sinner and love the sinner, how should he feel about someone who very much transgresses in one of the most diabolical ways against them?
That one is, I can't speak for them, because as a Christian I believe in forgiveness and we are commanded to forgive everyone.
But at a certain point, inclusion becomes promotion.
That right there, that's actually a very significant statement that I have to give him credit for saying, because that's the unspoken truth right there, right? That the extremists don't want to acknowledge, and that's the true reality of what's happening here. That inclusion now, and I've said this multiple times, where I said, it is good to teach tolerance, right? But not promotion or celebration. I will happily be friends with people of many lifestyles, right? LGBT, got friends and associates that are gay, never had a problem with that, right? And that has never affected my ability to be friendly or have a friendship with anyone, okay, who they're attracted to or whatever. The line is celebrating and promoting it and saying that it is equivalent or just as good as a traditional relationship like between a man and a woman, where the two people in love can create life together. And that is incredible. That's amazing and should be held as sacred and the most important union, marriage, in society, right? That's the standard that I not only want to, I do uphold as being superior and more celebratory than any other union, okay, that you can possibly have, right? But that is bigoted and homophobic, and that's where they attack, all right? Because it's not enough. It's not enough. Acceptance and tolerance isn't enough. You have to say it is just as good, even better, and celebrate. And the fact that someone being gay or trans everything is literally more celebratory of more significant note than being straight in the mainstream progressive woke ideology, right? In actual fact, being straight is a negative. If you're a straight person, or especially a straight white man, your opinion is basically worth spit now.
But anything good, normal, anything that would be natural is bad to them, you know, let alone beautiful or good or sacred. But here's the thing, right? I don't think, well, sure, inclusion can become or does become promotion at some point.
The only type of inclusion the progressive, woke activists accept and actually believe is acceptable enough is promotion. If you are not promoting it, you're a bigot. The fundamental of what he's saying here, that at a certain point inclusion becomes promotion, right? It's actually pretty darn interesting that he's saying that. And the example of what I was saying when the left, the ultra-progressive kind of belief that acceptance tolerance isn't enough, you have to celebrate it. The direct proof of that is the attacks we have received for a statement. Do you remember what that statement was?
No.
It was when we were reviewing Wheel of Time. And I was repulsed by something.
You didn't like gay sex.
I said this line: straight men or straight people find gay sex repulsive. And I was targeted by many woke activists and everything like that as being, that was a homophobic statement. Why would that be a homophobic statement when it's a basic statement of truth that me as a straight person, as a man who is straight, is not attracted to other men. And when I see other men engage in sexual activity, I'm repulsed by it because I'm not attracted to men. How is that a bigoted homophobic statement?
Well, look, I have to say personally, I can't speak for you, but I actually don't find gay sex repulsive.
Because you love lesbians.
Because I love lesbians.
All right, but we're talking about like a gay man being repulsed by lesbians. They're fine with that, right? But that's what I mean about tolerance. I have gay friends, right? And that's never affected anything, all right? But that's not enough. I need to be okay with watching gay sex. Do you remember that there was a gay rom-com that came out called Bros, right? This rom-com had near pornographic, not fully, but near pornographic homosexual sex in it. And they were trying to accuse straight guys for being homophobic for not watching it, right?
Yes.
This is proof that it's gone way beyond tolerance and acceptance, right? That no, you need to embrace it. Enjoy the gay sex. Otherwise, you're a bigot. Are we in clown world? I've experienced it directly.
And how far away are we from, and you need to partake in it?
But we're already there. Watching it is partaking in it, honest, right? Not physically, but it is actively engaging in, the lifestyle in a sense of watching it, right?
Does being included into the group of gay exclude you from being straight?
Because I got news for you.
Spicy take.
Kids not to hate or judge those who are different? Great. Proud we got there. All for that. But at a certain point, inclusion becomes promotion.
Now, I actually completely disagree with everything he just said about teaching kids not to hate. We should be teaching kids how to basically get around in the world, philosophies, history. But otherwise, we should just let them, because have you heard of the Emperor's New Clothes, right?
Yeah.
Like where the Emperor goes out naked and everyone else stands there shocked, not saying anything. And then the kid points out, he's naked, right? Kids they will just say the true thing that comes to their mind. They don't have any of the ingrained social, what's it called? Filters, the passive filters we're trained to have,
The whole thing, kids say the darndest things.
Exactly. That's a virtue. We should let them be kids. We shouldn't try to teach them anything too political, apart from being based.
Well, you do need to teach kids politeness and, so.
Yeah, but to filter their emotions, to filter their natural reactions. Maybe that
we don't want to teach them to filter their ability to observe reality and truth.
I think that's what they're asking for, the left in general.
Well, again, at a certain point, inclusion becomes promotion. That's their inclusion is promotion now, and I've experienced it directly. And once upon a time, my level of tolerance would have been really progressive for a conservative Christian, right? But that's not enough. You have to celebrate it and enjoy it and actually engage in it by watching other things, right? And we're in clown world.
And contrary to current progressive dogma, children aren't miniature adults wise beyond their years. They're morons.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
Okay, well, interesting, right? Because that line is interesting with just like what you're saying, where kids have an ability to observe truth much more clearly at times. But look, you have to acknowledge the other side. Kids need protection and guidance because they don't have rational decision-making things developed yet, right? They do need protection from parents.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, kids aren't like smart or mature by definition, but I wouldn't say kids are morons.
Oh, they can be.
They can be dumb, but they're brand new to the world. And for just as dumb as a kid can be for being new to the world, an old person can be 1,000 times dumber.
Yes.
For all their
age is absolutely not a instant qualification for wisdom or maturity.
See,
I've actually come across some of the most immature adults that are more immature and childish than many children are.
I'm sitting right here, Shad. But see, kids, unless you're unfortunate enough to be born with like some sort of genetic thing, kids come into the world a blank slate, right? And then time distills them based on what they encounter in life.
Which is why their upbringing and how they're raised is so important.
Exactly, but to call them, I don't know.
They're gullible morons who'll believe anything and just want to please grown-ups.
Children actually, if you teach them right, they end up being more aware. Like I had a very, I'm very lucky with my upbringing. And I was taught many things. And as a result, I was actually, as a kid, very skeptical of any bullcrap that teachers are trying to push and stuff.
Yeah. I had a mixed upbringing, and I'm just naturally skeptical of literally everything.
But it's true, children are very impressionable. Absolutely, they are impressionable. And so it's so important to teach them right early on.
And they don't have any frame of reference, so they normalize whatever's happening. That's why endlessly talking about gender to 6-year-olds isn't just inappropriate. It's what the law would call entrapment.
Oh, there's another word that we've been calling it.
Grooming.
Grooming, yes. Yes.
I don't think they normalize everything, though. I don't think they normalize their reality.
No. Kids will, what they're exposed to gets included in what they think the world is, absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't, I do the opposite of some of the things that were normalized in my childhood. I do the exact opposite, especially as far as like relationships are concerned. So I have to disagree.
Okay, there are cases where kids will see something in the real world and be able to naturally identify it as that shouldn't be the way it is.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
Like The Emperor's New Clothes, perfect example.
Yeah.
Which means enticing people into doing something they wouldn't ordinarily do.
Grooming? It's so funny, like, why are you avoiding the word, Bill? You know the right has been calling out this grooming stuff for a while now.
Well, yeah.
It's because he doesn't want to be seen as on board with the conservatives pushing back against this agenda.
Yet he'll praise the Florida man.
For example, after 9/11, there were several cases of overzealous federal agents leading sad losers into terrorist plots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've mentioned that before. And yeah, like, it's a matter of record that this has happened, by the way.
Like the undercover FBI agent who got 7 out-of-work dudes in Liberty City, Florida, to sign on to a plot to bomb the Sears Tower in Chicago. Oh, please, these guys didn't even have a gun. But when someone said, wouldn't it be cool if we taught the man a lesson and blew something up? They said, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Entrapment, suggesting someone into something they wouldn't otherwise do. And if you think that some of that isn't going on with gender in schools, you're not watching enough TikTok videos.
Like, this part is very based and is very true.
I pledge allegiance to the queers.
I'm not allowed to be out as trans non-binary at school. So my response to this is to be as obnoxiously queer as possible.
But they're not trying to groom kids into this ideology, Oz. Not trying to groom kids at all.
There's a certain kind of activist these days who wants to take heterosexuality, old school, old-fashioned, boring, minding its own business heterosexuality, and lump it in with patriarchy and sexism and racism and tell kids, wouldn't it be cool if you were anything but that?
That is, like, the fact that he's actually saying stuff like that this has been going on for a while, you know, at least some people are noticing, you know? There are parents that very clearly promote and push this on their kids. Like, especially like parents that have 2 trans kids. A kid can't be trans. They're not mature enough to even understand the concept properly, right? They're not developed enough or anything like that, right? And so if their children are saying they are, it's because they were taught to be that way.
Yeah. And just based on the definition of what things are and the places they occupy, if I was to say, I believe I am Chuck Norris or a pterodactyl or, you know, like it's literally a very
One
common...
of my kids pretends to be a dinosaur.
He's literally based and he will bring back the Jurassic period.
Right.
However...
But no, this is the thing, right? Like, the reaction that certain parents have when kids role play being the opposite gender would be if I saw my son pretending to be a dinosaur, I was like, you are a dinosaur. I am going to even dress you all the time as a dinosaur, encourage it. And then even maybe there are certain things I could give you that might make your voice sound more dinosaur-like or things like that, right?
Or to like have a part of his body cut off and then put on as a tail.
The horrifying thing is, right, my child trusts me so much that if I told him he was a dinosaur, encourage it, dress him, everything like that, I had have the influence to literally be able to convince my child that he is a dinosaur. In reality, he would think he is a real dinosaur. That's how much influence I have as a parent, right? And so that's what's happening in a lot of cases with gender ideology, right? And
I'd say every case. I mean, how often, not every case, but how often does it really truly happen?
You know, and they even started off with like when they see one of their kids, like a boy grabbing dolls to play with, right? It's like they think that means they're this. And then they'll ask, is like, do you think you're this and that? And if they're in an environment where certain, you know, behaviors are being celebrated, like imagine if they're taken to Drag Queen Story Hour, these, you know, people being celebrated and stuff that they get to more attention if they dress up in a different way and things, right? What do you think the child is going to be encouraged to answer when they're asked these questions, right? And then the parents use it to virtue signal, to get social clout. Like, I'm a parent of so many, you know, types of kids, right? Oh my gosh, right? Like child abuse. It's blatant child abuse that's happening.
It also seems to be the theme of kind of a lot of kids' books these days. I never used the phrase gay agenda because I thought it was mostly nonsense, and it is, mostly. But a director for Disney television animation did say after she was hired,
the showrunners were super welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. Like, I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness. No one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
That's the famous clip. But Disney doesn't have a gay agenda, guys. It's not happening. When they have employees literally saying, no one's stopping me and I'm adding queerness in everything, right?
And he just said that the gay agenda is nonsense.
Well, I know. How could he say that in the face of that? And it's like, I believe it was nonsense, and mostly it is. And then he goes out, and he's showing that clip to contradict himself because that seemed like he was earnest when he says it's mostly nonsense.
See, what I think is that because he's a part of the left, he has to contradict, he has to confuse and obfuscate. That's why I don't trust him, but yeah.
look, I'm all for adding queerness wherever. I put some in my drink before I came out here tonight. But maybe we should think about giving kids a break from our culture wars for a minute, or at least until the election is over.
And there he finally says something I believe he believes.
Until the election is over. He's okay with it.
I believe that is the only true thing he's ever said.
Wow, that is actually, you're right. That is the final mask off moment. That is disgusting. That, you know what he says? That means he believes the gay agenda stuff that's being exposed is harming the Democratic Party from getting elected. And so we need to stop it, at least until the election is over and they're in power, and then go on board with the gay agenda. That undermines everything he just said, right? he is actually okay with it so long as it doesn't harm his political party getting into power. You hypocritical scumbag.
And
holy crap.
I say it every time because I love it. And it's always true. Like in movies, they don't show you how the cops catch people because otherwise they know how they can be caught. Similarly, they'll show you. They won't show you where the criminal makes mistakes. Not literally, like the ones that actually get, or like, where their defenses are open. So I think this is him literally just being like, guys, here's where you're vulnerable.
Exactly. It feels like that. Stop being so overt about it. Still push it, but don't be so overt about it, at least until after the election. Wow. You are right. That last line. Oh, wow.
This is why, dude, you just can't trust a single thing they say.
What a two-faced scumbag. He needs to support it until after the election. Holy crap.
I hate that, man.
That's why you got to pay attention and why you have to always stay on watch.